autumn evening,
Hemlock
the
lived
kind
alone.
where a heavy fog
Withered
wrapped
farm.
around the
His
town
only
like a
companion
shroud.
was his young son,
Hannah and Mike,
Alara,
college students
a
with
boy
an
with eyes
appetite
like
for
moss
urban
agates
legends,
and hair
decided
the
to
color
visit
of a
Hillgate
raven's
Cemetery,
wing.
a
Hemlock,
sprawling
his face a
historic
roadmap of
graveyard at
wrinkles
the edge
etched
of
by
their
years
small
of harsh
town.
winters and
It
lonely
had a
nights,
reputation,
cherished
locals
Alara
said,
more than life
for being a
itself.
place where
The farm
strange
was their
things happened
sanctuary,
after dark.
or
They
so
arrived
thought.
just after
One
sunset,
evening,
the
a
mist
chilling
curling
wind
around
howled
the
through
wrought
the
iron
valley,
gates.
carrying with it
Hannah was
an
eager,
unnatural scent,
clutching a flashlight
sharp,
and scanning
like
the rows of
pine needles and
gravestones
something
just
else.
visible through the murky
Something
haze.
ancient and wicked.
Mike, less
Alara,
enthused, joked to
chasing a
mask his
firefly,
unease. It's
wandered
just
too
rocks
far
and
from the
statues, he
farmhouse.
said. What's
Hemlock,
there to be scared
hearing a
of?
scream that tore through
But
the
Hillgate
night,
Cemetery
grabbed his
wasn't
ancient
just
hunting
known
rifle,
for its eerie
its worn
appearance.
stock familiar in his
Stories of
calloused
phantom
hands.
lights
He
flitting
found
amongst the
Alara surrounded
tombstones,
by a ring of
whispers
elves,
when no one was
not the
there,
delicate, whimsical creatures
and even
of children's
sightings of
tales,
figures in period
but
clothing
beings
were
of
passed
nightmare.
down like
Their
folklore.
skin was the color of
Hannah had
decaying
heard about a
leaves.
particular
Their
gravesite,
eyes glowed
a
with
crypt
malevolent
belonging
green
to the
fire,
Rosewood
and
family,
their teeth were
that
long,
supposedly held the
needle sharp.
spirits of its
They were clad in
long-dead
rags woven from
inhabitants.
the darkness itself.
If any part
Their
of the
movements were
cemetery was
sinuous
going
and
to provide
unsettling.
chills,
Alara,
it would be there.
small and
As they
terrifying,
walked deeper
was
into the
trapped in their
graveyard,
midst,
their shoes
his
crunched
face
on the
streaked
gravel
with
path,
tears and
the
dirt.
sound
The
muted by the
elves,
thick
their
fog.
voices like the
The
rasping of dry
flashlight grew
branches,
dimmer as shadows
chanted
seemed
a
to gather the further they
incantation,
ventured.
their hands reaching
Hannah
towards
checked her
Alara.
phone for directions
Hemlock's
to
heart
the
hammered
crypt.
against his
The
ribs.
signal
He
had
knew these
vanished.
weren't the playful sprites of
Weird,
legend.
she muttered,
These were
brushing it
creatures
off.
of shadow and
Mike's
malice.
jokes had
He
quieted
raised his
too.
rifle.
The weight of the
cold
cemetery
steel,
seemed
a
to press
comfort
down
in
on
his
both of
trembling
them.
hand.
It wasn't
But
long before they
he
reached the crypt,
hesitated.
a large,
Single shot
ivy-covered
would
structure
surely
with
kill.
a heavy stone
One,
door.
maybe two.
Above the
but
entry was
the
an
others,
inscription,
they were
worn by
many,
time,
and the
but
chanting
the
grew
name
louder.
Rosewood was still
The air
legible.
around them thickened
Hannah tried to
with an
peer
unnatural
inside through
chill.
a small
Then,
crack in the stone.
Hemlock remembered an old
They say
wives'
if you
tale,
look too long,
a
you
whispered
might see
warning from his
something
own
staring back,
grandmother about
she
these
teased.
creatures of the night.
Mike
They
stayed
feared
behind her,
iron,
his arms crossed.
yes, but they
Let's
feared
just take the
something else
picture and
more.
go. This place feels
The ancient,
off.
forgotten language
She
of
was
the
about to
earth.
take a
He
photo
closed
with
his
her
eyes,
flashlight when both
took
of
a
them
deep breath,
froze.
and began to speak.
From deeper
His
inside the
voice,
crypt there came
rough
a
and
faint
weathered,
sound, a
resonated with
shuffle,
the power of
or maybe a
generations,
whisper.
weaving a counterspell.
Hannah turned to
An
Mike, her
ancient
face pale.
incantation,
He shook his
spoke
head,
of earth
trying
and
to
stone,
rationalize
of
it.
roots and resilience.
It's just air.
The words
Old
were
places make
strange,
noise all the time.
guttural, almost
Before he could
painful
finish
to
his
pronounce.
sentence, they
Yet
heard
they
it
held
again,
a power that
closer this
resonated
time.
deep within
It
the
was
very soil
unmistakable.
beneath their feet. As
Low
Hemlock
hiss,
chanted,
accompanied
the
by what
elves
sounded like
recoiled.
footsteps
Green fire in
scuffing
their
against
eyes
stone.
flickered, their chanting
Hannah's
faltered,
flashlight flickered
their
and
grip
went out,
on Alara
leaving them
loosened.
in near total
Their forms
darkness.
shimmered,
Let's
becoming less
leave.
solid,
Mike's voice
their
trembled now,
menacing
stripped of
presence
its
fading
earlier
into the
bravado.
shadows.
Hannah
With a final,
nodded,
desperate
stumbling
shriek,
backward
they
as she
vanished
tried
into
to
the
make
night,
sense of what they
leaving
just
behind
heard.
only the lingering scent of
As they
decay
turned
and
to
the chilling
retreat, the
silence
air
of the
grew
forest.
colder, and
Hemlock
shadows
rushed
seemed
to
to
his
ripple
son,
across the
embracing
fog.
him tightly. Alara,
Hannah thought she saw
shaking but
movement in the
unharmed,
corner of her eye.
clung to his father.
A figure, perhaps, dressed in something long, its dark silhouette vanishing as she turned to look. Then came the whisper. It wasn't distant anymore, but right behind them. Low, guttural words neither of them could understand. Mike grabbed Hannah's arm, pulling her toward the path. They ran through the cemetery, the eerie quiet broken by their pounding footfalls and panicked breaths. Hannah was sure she could hear more footsteps chasing them, echoing faintly. But when she glanced back, there was no one there. The fog seemed to thicken as though trying to hold them back, but they didn't stop until they reached their car by the gates. In the safety of the vehicle, both were shaking. Mike started the engine, throwing glances behind them as he reversed down the road. Hannah didn't speak while gripping the flashlight tightly, her knuckles white. Weeks later, she would return to the cemetery, alone this time. She wanted to prove to herself that it had all been in their heads. But when she visited the Rosewood crypt again in daylight, she noticed something she hadn't seen before. A plaque beside the entrance detailing the Rosewood family's history. According to local legend, the crypt had been the site of a gruesome incident over a century ago. People claimed to hear footsteps or whispers, not from the spirits of the Rosewoods, but from an intruder who had never made it out. No one could say for sure who or what was protecting the site. Hannah left without venturing any closer that day, and she never returned to Hillgate Cemetery after that.